Welcome to Everyday English Tips. Today's story is titled From Maid to Manager, the Girl Who Refused to Stay Silent. This is a powerful tale of a girl named Lily who began her life with nothing but dreams in her heart and a mop in her hand. Her voice was unheard, her presence overlooked, and her ambition doubted. But she never stopped believing that her life could be more. In a world that judged her for her background, her job, and her broken English, Lily stayed silent. Not out of fear, but out of focus. She worked in shadows, observed in silence, and prepared for her moment. This is not just a story about success. It is a story about resilience, about fighting silently for a place in a world that tells you you don't belong. People laughed at her, mocked her accent, and underestimated her value. But she didn't quit. She rose, quietly, step by step, until her silence became a voice of inspiration. Lily was born in a small, dusty village on the outskirts of a large city. Her world was filled with struggle, yet she always found wonder in the simple things. Her father worked as a part-time labourer, and her mother stitched clothes at home. Even with both parents working tirelessly, they barely made enough to cover basic needs. Lily loved going to school, even in her tattered uniform. She was always the first to raise her hand, always the last to leave the classroom. But when her father fell ill, her dreams were put on pause. At just 14, she left school to help support her family. She moved to the city to work as a live-in maid. Her life suddenly changed from textbooks to brooms, from math problems to laundry loads. She worked in wealthy homes, cleaning bedrooms and scrubbing toilets, often invisible to the family she served. Sometimes she would overhear the children laughing at her accent. "She doesn't even speak proper English," they would say. It hurt, but she never replied. Instead, she made a silent promise to herself. "One day I will learn. One day I will be more." In one of the homes she worked in, the children had private English tutors. While sweeping the floors, Lily would pause by the door, listening to the lessons. She memorized words in her head, repeated them softly while folding clothes. She began writing them in an old notebook she found in the garbage. Chair, window, bottle. Every night. In the small servant's room, she whispered those words to herself. Her only resource was what others threw away. Her only teacher was her own determination. She began saving small amounts of money, sometimes just a coin or two, to buy used books from a roadside vendor. One day, she found a damaged grammar book with half the pages missing. But to Lily, it was a treasure. She studied each page until the letters danced in her dreams. And yet, when she spoke, people still laughed. But now, her silence wasn't from shame. It was from preparation. One afternoon, while dusting the study, she overheard a motivational speaker on a podcast say, "You must be your own hero." Those words hit her like lightning. That night, she stayed up and wrote in her notebook, "I am my own hero." This became her daily mantra. She began waking up 30 minutes earlier to practice speaking in the mirror. She watched news with subtitles, wrote down headlines, and read them aloud. It wasn't perfect, but she kept trying. Eventually, the same children who laughed at her accent noticed something different. "Did you go to school again?" one of them asked. Lily smiled. "No, I'm just practicing." A young tutor named Sarah noticed Lily's efforts and offered to teach her basic English twice a week. Lily agreed instantly. They studied for 20 minutes every evening in the kitchen. From verbs to vocabulary, Lily soaked up knowledge. And soon, the silence she once lived in began to crack. By the time Lily was 18, her confidence had grown. Her spoken English wasn't perfect, but it was clear and full of effort. Sarah, her tutor, saw her potential and suggested she apply for a front desk job at her uncle's small travel agency. "They need someone honest, humble, and hardworking," Sarah said. "And you are all three." Lily had never been to an interview before. She borrowed a modest dress. printed her own resume and practiced greetings over and over. When she walked into the office, her hands trembled, but she looked everyone in the eye. The manager asked her, "What experience do you have?" She said honestly, "I cleaned homes, I served families, I organized, remembered, and never missed a task. I am ready to learn anything." Impressed by her sincerity and attitude, they gave her a chance. For Lily, it was more than a job. It was the first time someone saw her potential beyond her uniform. Her first days at the office were challenging. The phone rang constantly, and emails came in faster than she could read. But she carried the same discipline from her Maid days into this new role. She arrived early, stayed late, and kept a notebook by her side to record everything she didn't understand. She learned new words every day and asked questions without shame. When customers got frustrated, she stayed calm. When she made mistakes, she owned them and improved. Soon, her co-workers noticed her dedication. Even the manager started assigning her more tasks. Lily began learning how to use Excel, schedule meetings, and manage bookings. The shy maid was becoming a confident communicator, but she didn't stop there. Every evening after work, she enrolled in a community business class. She wanted to know how offices worked from the inside, how to lead, how to manage. She wasn't just working hard, she was leveling up. Lily's work ethic and growth began to turn heads in the office. Clients started asking for her by name, praising her patience and clear communication. She began to earn bonuses, which she saved diligently. Her dream was no longer survival, it was success. She used her evenings to study leadership, customer service, and even digital marketing. Eventually, the manager asked her to train a new receptionist. She was shocked but grateful. She trained with kindness and clarity, just like Sarah had once taught her. That moment changed her. She realized she wasn't just good at learning, she was good at teaching. She started imagining her own company one day, where girls like her could be seen, heard, and supported. Every setback she once faced became her strength. Every insult became her motivation. 2 years later, the small travel agency expanded, and Lily was promoted to assistant manager. She cried when she got the letter, not because she felt lucky, but because she knew she had earned it. She upgraded her skills further by joining online certification courses. Her weekends were spent watching webinars and attending workshops. Lily transformed from a quiet housemaid to a voice in meetings, suggesting ideas and solving problems. Her story began inspiring others at the office, especially young interns who saw her as a mentor. But her journey was far from over. She remembered all the girls back in her village who had no voice. She wanted to build something that could help them dream big. One evening, she started a blog to share her story, using simple English so even beginners could understand. Her first post was titled, "From Broom to Boardroom." Her blog quickly gained attention. People related to her story, and many women wrote to her saying she gave them hope. A non-profit noticed her writing and invited her to speak at a seminar for underprivileged girls. She hesitated, but remembered the day she first heard a motivational podcast. So she stood on that stage and said, "I am not here because I was lucky. I am here because I never gave up." Her voice was strong, her message clear, her story unforgettable. After the seminar, job offers came, but she stayed loyal to the agency that believed in her. However, she began volunteering part-time to help girls with spoken English and job interview training. She didn't want to escape her past. She wanted to build a bridge for others to walk through it. Today, Lily is a manager. She leads a team, attends conferences, and continues to write her blog. She still practices her English every morning, still reads books, still mentors others. She bought a small apartment and brought her parents to live with her in the city. She even reopened the village library with her savings. She's no longer the girl who stayed silent. She is the woman who speaks for many. And every time someone asks her, "How did you do it?" she smiles and replies, "I believed in myself when no one else did." Let Lily's story be a reminder. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters how far you're willing to go. Keep learning, keep growing, and never ever stay silent when your voice can be your power.